Well, welcome one and all. We are here to hear Max Reif, but not only here, we're going to get to see some of his artwork, and here there will be some songs.
Hi, Sharon.
So we're
Hey,
in
Bob.
for a multimedia extravaganza. Go ahead. I'm going to turn it over
Okay.
to Max.
Okay. Thank you, Gail. J. Bob, everyone. I'm just. I have a tendency to tell a story about what I said in the previous sentence, every sentence, and I can't. I have to guard against that today because I have some actual material I want to get to. But I'll fill in with all the other stuff at some point. But I'm going to start by just singing a song and show you that I can actually do this. I'll probably just do it for this one song. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's good. Okay, and then get this. Okay, I'm usually when I used to do these kind of programs during the pandemic, I would do a chronological thing, and I would start with the first thing I ever did for Baba, and then do the early stuff, and then the middle stuff, and then the recent stuff. But I got a new. I was getting bored with that, so anyway, this we'll see how this works at Evolve. But I am going to start with this song. This is the first song that I consciously wrote to Meher Baba, or somebody. I don't know who wrote it actually, but it popped out of me in 1976 when I was staying on the center in Myrtle Beach, and I think that no, actually I may have been off center then. I was living in Myrtle Beach for a while. I was staying with Ed Luck's house, and I think he went out for groceries or something, and this song just popped out of me, and he came back and I sang the song, and he said, "Who wrote that song?" And it was the first of many such experiences. It gets addictive, as Bob would know, I suppose, and Sharon, and Marcia, and everybody maybe. But anyway, this is called "The Wake Up Man." It's a song I still like. Anyway. Sleep, children, sleep, all quiet in the nursery. Dream, children, dream, the wake-up man is on his way. The little man, all dressed in pink, is entering the nursery. He sees the sleeping children and guards them as they dream. Sleep, children, sleep, all quiet in the nursery. Dream, children, dream, the wake-up man is on his way. Watch him walk, just watch him. His step is very light, and his eyes, see how they twinkle and flash from left to right. Yes, he's just like a cat, so nimble you hardly can believe. And the silent music of his laughter rings out that he'll never leave. And he sees the sleeping children and rocks us as he beams. When he knows we're ready, he wakes us from our dream. Sleep, children, sleep, all quiet in the nursery. Dream, children, dream, the wake-up man is on his way. The wake-up man is on his way.
Baba.
Thank you. Thank you, Clapper. Okay, now I'm going to recite one poem that was about my experience of coming to Baba. There, I have about 5 or 6 poems that I feel were special gifts from Baba, and I've committed them to learn them by heart. I've learned them by heart, and so this is one of them. This is just called The Search. I'll do the others later, I think. Bye, honey. Okay. Okay. The Search. Every morning when I wake up, I wonder when I'll really wake up. It's been years now, and still no sign of really dying and being born. And like a pilgrim in the desert, I keep plodding on, looking for the only non-mirage there is, the city called love. And how do I know this city exists? In answer, my mind takes me back to a small room long ago and the broad smile of a friend as he told me God is love and who God is. And as he spoke and then stopped speaking, his smile went on, and the room filled with a presence, and time and space collapsed completely into love, into which we both disappeared, yet remained. And the sun rose in its glory and bathed me with its light and fed me with its honey and blessed me with its sight. And in the folds within my robe, for a while, I knew truth as told of since the ancient days, and I'd found eternal youth. And my friends, when I left that room, since I've left that room, I've searched a different search and sung a different song, for nothing I'd known before could matter very much once time and space had given way, like the thinnest membrane parting to reveal the vastest universe inside. And I saw that what I'd known before only stood to mark time as we wind our way to that love uniting all. Jai Baba. Okay. I'm going to share, let's see what this is. This is a few recent poems. Although I think the first one is not that recent, but I just happened to come across it and I liked it and I wanted to read it out loud. This is called A Drunken Rant. Oh, you know what? I was going to do a screen share on this, Gayle. Can you do that? Can you get me to that? I was going to show a painting. This is the one. I thought this poem would be good. This is one of my favorite paintings that ever came off of my brushes, called Drown in the Ocean of His Eyes. And I'll just leave that up while I recite this. The poem's called A Drunken Rant to the Tavern Master. Bartender, make me one with everything. Make me a God cocktail. Empty this bottle into that bottle yourself. Pour every last drop into that container of infinite purity which can never be sullied, the ocean of love that you are. I will keep doing my best as well to pour the dregs of this dark ancient brew of thought, emotion, memory, and desire to be dissolved in the shaker of your body, and then, at your behest, poured back fresh and clean. I sit beside your picture looking into your eyes, so close, and yet feeling that membrane of separation. Out through these eyes, proverbial windows, and the spout of this bottle, bartender, I send this separation out into your divine container, down through your eyes of unlimitedness. You are the tavern master. Your will is law, and your wish governs the law. Only your mercy will set me free to love and serve and see you in all. Jai Baba. Jai Baba. Let's see. You heard the poem. It was this painting, Drown in the Ocean of Your Eyes. Can you see it now?
That's nice. Yeah.
Okay. So
Great.
that's okay. Thanks for telling me. I
Why
practiced
don't you
this.
just leave it up and maybe periodically go back to you so we can see you?
Yeah. I'll leave it up a
Yeah.
little bit. I have a lot
Yeah.
more. I'll leave it up for the next poem. I'll read a couple more poems and leave it up.
Okay. Sorry.
There are other paintings I'm going to use for other poems, but I can leave that one up for this. This one's called History. This was just written this past week, and I just wanted to give something fresh. I moderate a page on Facebook called Poems for Mayor Baba, and we get, I feel, a comparatively lot of exquisite poetry. And I often feel I couldn't even tie the shoelaces of some of those poets. Um, but I keep trying. Sometimes you never know, how much power something's going to have. It may seem very powerful to you, and it may not get across to the other people in that particular place. But this was one that I wrote this past week after reading a number of Francis Brabazon's ghazals in the book "The Beloved Is All in All," his last book of ghazals, and it really put me in a radical place. It showed me how unique Francis was, and I guess by extension, the lover of God that's really close to the beloved gets. So then I found my own voice then, and I wrote this called History, which is more like personal history. Okay. I believed myself to be the recipient of your greatest poetic gift. You took me to mountaintops, poured inspiration so freely that I felt no trace of grift. Could I be blamed for believing what turned out to be the most obvious fallacy? You were always the poet, a mere holder of the pen. That was me. True, there were revolutions and what seemed like cosmic geological shifts going on within, and what felt like eons of suffering to balance who knew what ancient sin. But perhaps that is a prerequisite for anyone seeking to labor in your employ. Rest assured, such a one will become a man, even starting out as a babyish boy. One is reduced to having the texture and temperament of granite that endures nature's mightiest blows without the slightest panic. At the beginning of all this, I naively thought we must be near the end. But I suspect so far it's been minor league prep for the big leagues with you, friend. We stand on the bridge of eternal now as the water of what's been flows downstream, and await new permutations of what always will remain a dream. Okay, Baba. Let's see what I'm going to read next, just a second. Well, this is this is one I revised recently. It's a kind of a slight thing, but I think it has its point, and I don't think I'd ever seen the point made in verse before. This is called Praying for the People I See on TV. I pray for the people I see on TV as I watch them on the screen. The ones having a hard time and the ones trying to help. During the pandemic, for the doctors and nurses interviewed on the front lines. For anchors and guests who are not just there for the money. The eyes of some are a little clearer. The prayers go in more easily, but I do it whenever inspired. It's not really even I pray as a volitional act. The gratitude for someone's commitment to us all just flows out of me like a river into their eyes, and it goes in. You could tell me television is an impersonal electronic medium, but I know otherwise because love bridges all distances, and I can feel it. I think I'll read this one too. This is, again, it's a little off the really profound Baba poems, but it was important for me to express this earlier this week. I had an encounter with a Baba follower who is a mega enthusiast and who had written something that was, well, kind of preposterous to me. And this was on Facebook. And I wrote back. Well, I didn't write back, but I wrote this in my notebook, and then I shared it with him. And we've had a bit of a discussion since then. So this is called To a Guru Brother Who is a Mega Enthusiast. And if any of you are, this may help explain why I feel that's difficult for me. We believe ourselves to be one. Indeed, our Master says that each of us is one, not only with him, but with all. And yet we differ so in what we see and think here in this world that is so like a hall of mirrors. Seeing the same thing so differently, I can't think of the first word to say back to you. Is there a bridge to reunite us in our Master's being? Master, will you help us to find you as the bridge? I think I'll stop with those right now and do another song or two.
Max, could you read that short poem again, please?
Which one?
The one you just read, the shorter, maybe the last, it seemed like it was like 6 lines that I'd like to hear again.
It was more than, okay. Actually, I had a somewhat more edited version of it, but it's okay. It's not very different. The whole thing is, okay, to a guru brother who is a mega enthusiast. We believe ourselves to be one. Indeed, our Master says that each of us is one, not only with him, but with all. And yet we differ so in what we see and think here in this world that is so like a hall of mirrors. Seeing the same thing so differently, I can't think of the first word to say back to you. Is there a bridge to reunite us in our Master's being? Master, will you help us to find you as the bridge? That's it. If anybody wants to make a comment or anything or say anything, you can put your hand up or something. And okay. Okay, I think I will sing song or two. I'm gonna, I don't have. Here's what happened. Here I go with one of my stories. I started preparing intensely for this program on Saturday, this past Saturday. I thought that was sufficient time, 3 or 4 days, 5 days. And I was sort of organizing things, and then I decided I'd get out my mic, my standalone mic, which vastly improves the music that you play on Zoom, on Baba Zoom, I found years ago. Cool. And discovered to my chagrin that the cable that connects the microphone to my PC was missing. And I have no idea. I mean, I always put it in the box like it was a sacred jewel or something, but it wasn't there. And I ran to, I'm going to tell this whole story. I don't know, who cares? It was a good Baba exercise and lesson. I ran to Ace Hardware. They didn't have, this thing has a small USB plug on one end and one of those pinpoint, they call them headphone jacks, that goes into the PC in the little hole marked mic.
No, it's not real.
What?
We do not
What?
understand.
Well, it's a story. Now the wolf, the ground.
Who's talking? Does anybody know who's talking?
Mm-mm.
I don't know who was talking and what they were saying.
I think something was just playing, and then whoever it was muted it, so you're good to go.
Yeah, I muted them. I don't. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I would. Okay. Anyway, so this thing had a little USB cord plug in one end and a pin to stick into the pink hole in the back of the PC that says mic, and used it many times. Ace Hardware had the little USB plug, but it didn't have the other end of it was a regular size USB. They didn't have one with the pin jack, and so I tried that in my PC and mic, and it recorded great. I mean, I did it on my home Zoom, and it looked great, but no sound. So then I went to Amazon and I ordered something that had as close to what I thought I needed as I could, but Amazon is not good lately about describing all the specs of what they're sending you, and it just didn't fit. It was a different kind of small USB that wouldn't fit in the mic. Then I ordered another one that said it was the kind that I really needed. There's a mini USB and a micro USB. And it came, and it was also not, it was wrongly marked in their ad, and it didn't fit. And I was freaking out. And I went to bed 2 nights ago, my head full of worry. I mean, it was just like my head was about this big with worry. And I suddenly thought, well, Baba, Baba is sending me this to learn not to worry about it. And I had no idea how I was going to get the kind of sound that I want you to hear. And we have a computer tech who was going to come over. Maybe he could help. And then I thought of going to Best Buy, where they have some more different kinds of cables. And I spent the whole night just, saying, Bob, I lay this at your feet, and visualizing myself as Baba's feet, and saying, worry arising and passing away. And I take antihistamines to help me sleep sometimes, and they're not, they're very light over-the-counter medications. But anyway, I got a good night's sleep, and I didn't get consumed with worry. And the next day I went to Best Buy, and they didn't have the cable, but the guy there told me how to connect the USB in my USB port in the back of my PC and make it work with the sound. And eventually, I tried to do that, and I reconfigured things the way he said, because you have to change the programming too, going into your, settings. And I was really excited, and I recorded a song, and it didn't play. But then I had to go to work. But then that night, it was like last night, I think, last night, I checked it one more time before waiting for our computer tech guy to come the next day. And I saw that I hadn't reconfigured it properly, that the mic was properly considered. That's called the input. But my speakers were still configured as this. They were the speakers for this mic, and this mic doesn't have speakers, so we weren't getting any sound. So I found how to change that, and it was like magic. And Baba really came through for me, and I learned not worrying paid off, and here I am. So that's that story. Yeah. So anyways, so I'm going to do this song, which is, I think it's good to do early on in a program like this. What did I do with my pick? We got another pick. Okay. This is a spiritual autobiography song that I somehow wrote in India in, I'm not sure what year it was, maybe 2010 or 11 or something. I was in India a couple times then. And I had several wonderful experiences of intuitively, getting songs in India. Not surprising, I suppose. But so this is called, I was amazed that it could all get in a song. This is my story with Baba. It's called 20th Century Boy. Some of you may have heard it here or there. It goes like this. Wait a minute. I was a 20th century boy. I did what I thought that I wanted to do. Well, that really isn't true, because the fear was in my veins, and I was running from my pain. I don't know where I would have wound up. It seemed like the game was already up. But Meher Baba, you smiled one day. With a wave of your hand, I heard you say, son, all of this is mine, and it will be yours too someday. In high school, the only thing that really was fun was sneaking into the rich people's swimming pools. In the middle of the night, it was our only delight. It was the only time I wasn't feeling strangled in school. And in the deep, dark water, I would touch my soul, or something like it, at the bottom of the pool. Then the people in the houses would turn on their lights, and my friends and I would panic, and we'd run through the night. We'd jump in my convertible and drive all night, west in freedom till the morning's light. That was the only way I knew to forget myself. The rest of the time was just something else. But Meher Baba, you came to me. You opened my eyes and I started to see how you'd painted the whole world a bright shade of pink, and how who I am is not just who I think. How from the beginning of time there was only you, and you took me home, and I saw that was me too. Oh God, what can I say? When I left that room that day, I walked away from everything I knew into the unknown, following you. Now down the corridor of years you've traveled with me, past mountains and valleys I can scarcely believe. Well now, Meher, where are we going to after 53 years of your magic carpet ride? Jai Baba. Thank you. Thank you. I sang that in India, and I guess I was touched that somebody thought it might have been an unpublished Pete Townsend song or something. I'd always wanted to write a rock song. Most of my songs are kind of gentle. Let's see. I think I'll do another song. This is a song that was this was originally supposed to be a poetry spotlight. There are a number of songs that were originally poems, almost with very little change of the lyrics. Sometimes just creating a few rhymes. This one is called "The Humble Cleaner." It's a country song. It goes like this. Wait a minute. A humble cleaner came and knocked upon my door one day. I took the bolt out from the lock and I was glad to say, "Yes, cleaner, I will let you in. Please wash my house of ancient sin and banish, if you will, the stench of swill in my dark cellar." I led him to the cellar door and opened it so he could see. The cleaner smiled silently and it appeared he did agree. I said, "My house has many rooms, some I've never even seen, but if you'll allow, I'll pick up brooms and help you clean." We worked together quietly and thoroughly and never fast, and as we went from room to room the years flew past. At last he put his duster down, but I said with a wary sound, "I need things shining perfectly. I'm waiting for the guest, you see." He laughed as if I told a joke, unbuttoned and took off his cloak. And friends, I think you know by now, the humble cleaner was the guest. Jai Baba. Okay, thank you. Thank you.
You are really bringing it tonight. It's really going well, Max.
Oh,
Thank
that's
you.
great. I'm glad the sound's coming through well. Boy, that's great. This is the heart's flood, that's been all these years comes forth now and then. I'm going to do a couple short poems that go with some of these paintings, and I'll do the screen share again. Then I'm going to do this longer piece that's began as a short story, as a scene in a short story, then became a poem, and then a painting, and then a song. But so I'll do a couple of these for other ones first. Let me do the screen share again. And how do I make sure? Let's see. Do I click screen? Do I have to click screen? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. So then I got to get a different painting up there. The one I'm going to do this one. Yeah, this is a painting called Gestation. I really like this one. It's about how everything comes from the womb of the womb of God, I guess. And originally it didn't have Baba in there, but I put him in, and I'm really got something for me. It's very short. Gestation. You bring to earth each moment from the womb of nothingness. Every instant unfolds like a new creation. None here knows the future. Whether you destroy the world or transform earth into paradise, we can only do our best to align with your wish, serve you in all, and hold to your Dhamma. That's all there is to that one, Jai Baba. And then let's see the next one. This one is called The Kiss. Where is that one? I'm sure, oh, there it is. Yeah, I had a, I hadn't had a real dream of Baba for many years, and I had one recently. This painting had been already done, but it was at that occasion, this poem, The Kiss. Who could ever infer from the mess of this world the perfect love that rules the universe? That the tender flesh of your cheek, exuding an irresistible silent kiss me, and the unforgettable perfection of that kiss are the truest emblems of the essence of our being here. Gift of gifts, wrapped in layers, 8,400,000 of them. The treasure that makes birth, death, and all those lives of indentured labor infinitely valuable. Okay, let's see. Actually, oh yeah. There's two poems that I'm going to read in connection with this painting. Let me just show it.
Okay.
This is a painting of a schematic, a painting I did representing our home, where we've lived for 20 years now, and various. Let's see.
Hold it up a little
It's-
bit higher.
Okay, the kitchen,
Yeah.
my
Okay.
office with me here where I am now. I think my wife is sleeping up in her bed in our bedroom.
Mhm.
That's her office upstairs, and there's Baba at the top.
Nice.
So let's see. I don't know if it'll be somewhat visible. Yeah, it's somewhat visible. Okay. Anyway, I'm sorry. Oh well. Anyway, so these are just two short poems. Many people. What the heck? Many people have only a tent by the sidewalk, or even less. How can it be that my wife and I have a spacious home that is a sanctuary, a Baba center, and a safe zone for us to live and grow in for 20 years now? Only by your grace. In the headwind that every lover faces along this journey, you have given us what we need. Our gratitude is immeasurable. We shared these thoughts in our kitchen this morning, and this is the report. And then there's one more that actually went with a digital painting I did this is called House with Wings. Early morning here, the time I love. I'm picturing our house with white wings. I did a digital picture of this, but I don't have it available. I'm picturing our house with white wings, sailing in the great empyrean of being toward you, Lord. Here now, with none of the cacophony the world becomes later on. I hope this spontaneous vision of peace and joy is the way things really are. In this quiet moment, I see the two of us, pilgrims and helpmates, on our way to you, in this container ship where we live and love, sleep and eat, say our prayers, work through difficulties, and safely recenter after another day of the battle we call life. Let me do one more song to get, and then I'll do there's a thing where I'm going to read 2 pages of prose to you, and I've never had the confidence to feel that an audience would would be really riveted. But it's something I really want to share and see how it goes. So first, I'll do this other song. Previously I did the first song I ever wrote to Meher Baba directly. This song was also to Meher Baba, but it was also I had a Baba sent me to. I had some real problems a long time ago. Many people know about it. I've written about it. There were things from my childhood that I couldn't talk about. It involved sexuality. And I wrote a letter to Ram Dass, who I learned later, Baba had said, looking at a picture of him once, Richard is mine. Richard Alpert was his name before he was called Ram Dass. I wrote him a letter in 1975 saying, Dear Ram Dass, is there such thing as eternal damnation because I feel my soul is ruined? That was about all I wrote because I was going through such hell because of this stuff from childhood that was coming up and that I had complicated with psychedelic use, which may have been necessary to batter down the very hard and strong walls of my ego. I don't know, of course. But he wrote back, I'm going to quote, I didn't intend to do this, but it's just all coming up. I received a letter from him in a couple weeks saying, Dear Max, your soul is not ruined and there is no damage to your thought or feeling whatever. Psychologically, you may be a mess, but spiritually, you are beautiful and you are going to God. In order to go to God, we have to get all the shit inside us opened up. Why not come to New York City and work with me for, it shouldn't take more than a couple of hours for starters. Just stay totally honest, open, and trusting. God loves you and will show you as soon as you begin to love yourself. Blessings surround you, accept your own beauty. Ram Dass. And I ended up New York City was far from St. Louis. I didn't feel safe going there, but turned out he was coming to Oklahoma City, which is only 300 miles from St. Louis, to do a lecture in a few weeks. And I went to visit him in his motel room, Downtowner Motel, the morning after his talk. And we sat in the room and he just said, well, what are you thinking about? And I had no idea what was going to take place. I had no idea if he was like what he was or anything, but I just poured out all the stuff that I was had always been ashamed to say. And he just went, what else? And I kept talking more stuff. And about 10 minutes later, it was just all gone. And I don't know how it went. I don't know if he was a heavyweight in the spiritual hierarchy. He just would always say that the love takes it away, and it's never, that shadow has never come back to me. I mean, I've certainly had problems, and I've had some problems, Yeah, I've really screwed up a couple times in this lifetime, but that shame was gone and has remained gone. And a few months later, and I worked with him. I would work with him by phone to get my life grounded, to reflect the new changes, and for about 6 months in 1976. And then he said, and this is just another funny little sidelight. He said to me, I'm going back to India pretty soon. Are you going to miss me? And I thought for a minute, and I felt so. That's right. When I called him that day, he said, Max, you sound strong. And I said, I feel strong. And he said, I'm going back to India soon. And I said, yes, I heard that you are. And he said, are you going to miss me? And I thought for a minute, and I just started laughing and said, no, because we just shared God, and I didn't need the crutch anymore. Anyway, so a few months later, I was at my home, and again, this song this was the first song that ever came through me, and I had no idea that I could do anything. I don't know who did, but anyway, it's called "Stars in Your Eyes," and it was a gratitude toward Ram Dass. But I just feel, Baba coming through Ram Dass. It's the Godhead, it's the love, and Ram Dass always respected my relationship with Baba and encouraged it. Okay, here we go. Actually, I'm going to do finger picking for this. Stars in your eyes, telling me to glow. Stars in your eyes, telling me to know who I am. Sometimes I wonder what went wrong so very long ago, and why it got to hurt like that when I got to feeling low. But when I see you smile at me, I know you're always here, and if I can but find you, I'll find love everywhere, find love everywhere. Stars in your eyes telling me to glow, stars in your eyes telling me to know who I am. Now take me on a journey to a deep and golden sea, where bathed in golden spray I'll become you and you'll be me. Take me ever traveling, then bring me home again, to turn the teardrops into dew. In the weary world of men, in the weary world of men, stars in your eyes telling me to glow, stars in your eyes telling me to know who I am. Oh, once I was a pile of bones, a pile of rags and feathers, all lying in a messy room, never changing with the weather. But you showed me that behind that room is an ocean full of sun. And now I'm on the painful road, now I'm on the glorious road, to see where I've come from, see where we've all come from, see where I've come from, see where we've all come from. Stars in your eyes telling me to glow, stars in your eyes telling me to know who I am. Stars in your eyes telling me to glow, stars in your eyes telling me to know who I am, who I am, who I am. Okay, Jai Baba, Jai Baba. Okay. Okay, let's see. Now I'm going to read. This is a book of autobiographical. I think it doesn't look. It looks backwards to me on this screen, but I think to you it looks okay. Can you read it? Yeah, okay, that's what I thought. Because now it looks backwards. When I saw the recording that I had made to test it, I couldn't read it, or I could read it there. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so anyway, this has autobiographical short stories. About half of them are from my life after Baba and feature him prominently, directly, and about half are from life before that, just real milestones in my life. And Nashawan wrote a foreword for it. Let's see. So this is, let me set the stage for this. I lived in this is from a story called Adieu Rivendell. Rivendell for me was Myrtle Beach. I had lived in Myrtle Beach for 6 years in the 90s, and I had lived there I don't know how many months in the 80s, maybe as long as a year altogether. No, more than a year, yeah. And I lived there in the 70s too. I would just get bounced out after a while. But I had always just wanted to live there, but I guess I wasn't ready. Ostensibly, I was just too lonely, and I couldn't find a girlfriend. Everybody had been warned off me, and so I decided. It says this in the story, but I said I was going to have to leave. I would leave God to find God, so I needed to find God where I was going, and I went to my hometown, St. Louis, Missouri. Tried to stay with my parents, but that didn't last for long. And I went to live in a sort of garret in the Bohemian section called the Central West End. And I thought I was going to try to be a professional writer or artist, but that I was doing painting, and it wasn't. I just realized that wasn't what Baba wanted, and I went out and got a job as a delivery courier. And I started putting myself on what later came to seem like a ladder of steps I needed to take to balance my life more than it had been. And so this is a landmark experience. I don't know if I realized it was, but I'll go into it later. You'll see as we do the painting and the song that I'll add to this. So this is a walk I took one evening to look at. I'd been living in this little garret, as I said, little 2-room place in an old building. It was a nice, I mean, it was okay, and I had gone to, I don't think it says that in here, so I should give it as background. I'd been in a cafe looking at a semi-underground newspaper, and I saw that it was a condo for sale in this high-rise luxury condo building a few blocks away. And it was only $40,000 in St. Louis, Missouri. It would have been like 300,000, God knows how much out here in California where I now live. And I told my parents, and they decided to buy one for the family and for me to live in while I was there. And I didn't see this as getting me closer to Baba necessarily, but it was always it was a novel thing, and I had always wanted to live in way up in the clouds, and so as my actual moving there came close, I took a walk one night from where I was living, maybe 5-6 blocks to this other place I was going to move to, and I did some contemplation and talked to Baba there, and so I'm going to read 2 pages now. I hope it will hold your interest. There isn't really a rational reason for this walk, except that anticipation of the move has me a little jazzed, and I love walking in the rain. I splash in little puddles on the sidewalk as my thoughts, the endless meditation, go on. A person is always the meat in a sandwich, I muse. You can't see the piece of bread ahead of you, the future. The one behind, however, the past, is visible as memory. In spite of recent efforts and improvements, my memories still leave me feeling a bit lost. Is there something wrong with my wiring, my judgment? I've had new starts in life, slate wiped clean more than once by great spiritual beings and forces. I'm more fortunate in this respect than most. But from one perspective, life is very long, as my fellow St. Louisan T.S. Eliot wrote in one of his poems. Within a year or several, even new, fresh pages seem to become submerged in tangles of karma and imperfect responses to challenges. I quickly go over the past 6 years. Ever since my first visit, I've identified the Baba Center as a real-life version of Rivendell, the elven citadel in The Lord of the Rings, a spiritual fortress in a fallen world. During one stay, I looked out over Long Lake and could see Meher Baba's face in every lily pad. That hadn't been my doing, but pure and simple grace. That grace had seemed natural at the center. I see a hand up. When I finish this, I'll call on you. That grace had seemed natural at the center. It made sense that if a being of infinite consciousness had walked its paths and sat in its chairs a mere couple of decades ago, then indeed, anything could happen there for many years to come. Now, having tangled Rivendell up in the apron strings of my own shortcomings, I've left God to find God. I have to keep believing that. As has been concretely demonstrated in my life many times, I keep reminding myself all things are constantly being made new by the God-man, and all things are possible everywhere. If I continue to put one foot ahead of the other and do my best, this wilderness too will surely yield to a connection with something or someone that knows my name. Surely Baba appreciates my recent efforts to face reality, but more steps lie ahead. I don't really think of this move to a new living space up in the sky as a step. It's more of a horizontal motion. Yet, even it will change my daily habits, the people I pass, the view from my window. I cross Maryland Avenue and walk toward Lindell, the city's major east-west boulevard, lined with luxury apartment buildings. I turn left there and right again a block further east at Taylor. As I continue south on Taylor toward the next street, West Pine, the brightly spotlighted upper floors of the executive house come into view. By the time I reach Taylor and West Pine, I can see the entire structure rising like a 22-story cake lit with numerous candles. The thought that I'll be living there in 2 weeks boggles my mind. I continue down West Pine until I stand directly across the street from the illumined edifice. There's no point in crossing the street and going closer still. I'm already face to face with my future, with a part, at least, of, quote, the other slice of bread, unquote. In Myrtle Beach, getting a house did not make a difference, and it's not likely to here either. Material circumstances don't determine the quality of life. That depends on harmony with the one behind the many. And this, in turn, depends on choices made in the face of karma. I stand there, umbrella propped up under my arm, and fold my hands in my heart. Beloved Baba, I murmur, help me to do better. Help me to live your life of love all the time. All things are possible by your grace. I recite the 3 main prayers Meher Baba gave to us, the Master's Prayer, the Prayer of Repentance, and the short one known as the Beloved God Prayer. After that, I turn around and walk back up to the corner of McPherson and West Pine, stopping briefly to gaze for one more moment at the glowing building and its lovely reflection on the wet pavement. I turn again, and this time, in the still, refreshing rain, continue back to the Cambridge apartments without stopping. Okay, so that was that. So then, I don't know, as time went on and I continued taking these steps, this was in 1998, yeah. Some other steps, I'd gotten the delivery guy job, and then I started taking a dance class. I found a therapist at the Catholic Family Services with a sliding scale. He helped me to get to start with computer dating. There were all these, and they began to seem like rungs of a ladder. And finally, I got onto I got my first computer, that's right, on my 50th birthday. And I found the Baba Talk listserv. And after about 6 months of taking part there and sharing a lot, because I didn't have too many people locally, and I had interesting little things that happened in my job, and I post. After about 6 months, I got an email from someone who said how much she'd been enjoying my posts, and she really said the kinds of things about me that I hope Baba would say, and I fancied that I felt Baba speaking through her, and we've now been together 25 years and married 20 of them. So this all seemed to actually, and so then I wrote a poem, realizing this night when I was praying to Baba about this new chapter of my life, it just came to gel so I'll show you the painting now called Mercy's Ladder, and I'll sing the song called Mercy's Ladder, which I won't read the poem because the lyrics of the song are pretty much the same. So let me do a screen share again. And the painting is much more dramatic than just me standing there. It's like I really felt I was drowning at that time in my life, and that's what came out in the painting. Let's see, screen, okay. And this, tell me when you see a guy drowning and Baba in a ladder. Just a second. 2020, okay, should be here. There it is. No, there it is. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay, all right. So let me do the song now. I have to get pick. Okay. Sometimes God sends a ladder into the swirling waters in which a soul is drowning. Its rungs, small steps toward freedom, appearing in the moment or recognized later on. If God did not send ladders, how could his name be mercy? How could we know his love? of a ladder while fleeing in the desert, and knew that God was with him. In secrecy and grandeur, the rungs go on appearing unto the needing soul. Later memory visits images of beauty, candelabras in the night. Okay, Jay Baba. Let's see. Okay, let me take this down.
Max, you're blowing us away. This is amazing. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Gail. Wonderful. Jay Baba. That's nice to hear. This stuff has been, it's a lifetime of, it's a lifetime. Jay Baba. Let me get rid of this one. Wait, okay, there's the stop share. Okay. So I think I actually wonder if I should close. There's one story I could read and close with that. Would that be satisfactory for everyone? Or maybe some people would like to comment or something after that. We can see. And I may close. I mean, I could go on for, I have no idea how long. But let me find this book and read this one story. What did I do with that book? Just a second. Wait, come on, man. Oh, there it is. Okay. And I'm going to get another picture up here. Let's see, screen. Okay, and then that folder, and then okay. So this is sort of a children's story or a fairy tale type story. It's called The Ballad of a Warm Cafe. Some of you, or one or two of you, may have heard it here and there. I used to do it a lot for a few years. I did it in Mondley Hall one time I don't remember if it was 1983 or 96. I think 96. The Ballad of a Warm Cafe. A cloud walked into a small cafe and said, "I would like a little sunshine, if you please." The waiter said, "If you get too much sun, you will evaporate. You will not be yourself anymore. You will not be a cloud any longer." The cloud said, "I'm tired of dark, stormy skies, and in fact helping them to make them dark, helping the thunders bluster. But I never knew that to change from all that, I would have to evaporate. Dear me, what would I be then? I could not deal with that, so I will have then, please, a small cup of sun." The waiter brought the cup of sun on his tray and set it on the table in front of the cloud. The cloud saw the sun swimming in the cup and brightened. He picked up the cup and placed it to his lips, emptying it in a long, deep draught. "Ah, how wonderful," said the cloud. And the sun was very definitely inside him now. He no longer looked threatening. In fact, if you saw him now, you would not think at first of a cloud. You would rather think of the sun first, and then have to look again to see it was really only a sun-drenched cloud. For a long time, the cloud sat and did nothing at all. But the rays of the sun shone from inside him, and he truly seemed a center of brightness all his own. All of a sudden, though, the cloud began to cry. "What's wrong?" asked the waiter. "I can remember a long time before I was a cloud, when it was always like this. But now this cup of sun is going to go away, evaporate, and then I will just have to go up there and follow thunder in the sky once more and be my old self again." "You do help things grow even now," said the understanding waiter. "And the sun doesn't really go away. It remains inside you. But if you really want more sun and want to leave the raining to others, you may always come back here to this place any time at all. This place will always be here for you." "Well, that is good," said the cloud. "But if I get too much sunshine, I will evaporate, and I don't want that." Perplexed, the cloud left. But a week or so later, he was back for another cup of sun. Couldn't stay away. The cloud laughed. The waiter smiled. Soon the cloud was coming in more and more often and looking brighter and brighter. With all the sunshine he was getting, his appearance was changing in a permanent way, so that at all times now you could not tell if he was a cloud or something else. But I'm still so afraid of losing myself, the cloud said again one day. Losing yourself? Asked the waiter. It's true that I warned you about that at first. I just wanted to make sure you really wanted this sun. Now it appears to me that what is happening is not that you are losing yourself, but that you are finding yourself. You are finding that a cloud was never really you, only something you had been molded into for a little while. Now it appears to me that you are on the verge of finding who you truly have always been. One more cup of sunshine, said the waiter, and I believe your number will be up. Well, I can't do anything about it anymore, said the cloud. I must have the sun, no matter what. The waiter brought the cup of sun on his tray and set it on the table in front of the cloud. The cloud picked up the cup and drank. He was infused with sun more than ever before, and for a moment the light in the room was blinding. When the light cleared, the cloud had a body just like the waiter. Now you will take over here, said the waiter, for I have a further journey to make. You see, I too was a cloud before I came here. Now it will be your turn to serve all who come to this place for whatever reason, to serve all who come to this special place hidden in plain sight of all, to give them sunshine and fill their clouded hearts. I will serve, said the former cloud. And when we meet again, said the waiter, it will be for all time. With that, the former waiter turned and walked out the door, and the new one was alone. He picked up his tray and, holding it in one hand, began wiping tables in the small cafe, waiting for those who might come. Jai Baba. Let's see. Stop share. Okay, Jai Baba. Okay, I think maybe I maybe that's enough for one session. And does anybody want to say or ask anything before we adjourn? Or Bob Yeager has his hand raised. Okay.
Just want to thank you, Max. That was so wonderful. Good to see you, and
Oh,
wonderful
good.
for your music and your poetry, and what a great story to wind up with. That was just
Oh, thank you, Bob. Thank you. Just Jai Baba. Thank you. That's
Jay Baba.
Perfect.
we
Perfect.
all
Yeah.
know the Baba life. Yeah. Anybody else want to share anything? Bob,
I really love this presentation. Thank you, Max, and thank you, Gail. And especially, I have a really more a different perspective about your work today than from seeing it mostly only on Facebook
yeah.
and
Yeah.
somehow the personal was really, I feel really, it helped me with my own life dilemmas. And thank you, Jai Baba.
Thank you, Sharon. Jai Baba. Yeah. That's Jai Baba. Yeah.
I want to
Yeah.
say thank you also. I really liked all your preparation, and you answered my questions without even asking. The first time you sang your song with the guitar, I thought, well, gosh, his music sounds so good. How does he get that guitar to sound good? And then I thought, no, I'm not going to bother him. I'm not going to ask him.
Okay.
But then you went and you told us. So
Yeah. It
thank
really.
you for that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I noticed that when I used to go to Baba Zoom Arti during the pandemic, and I thought he had great songs, and people seemed to like them. But then when this fellow Joe Stewart, who was on there, said you should get a mic, and it was just a much better communication, and I got much more direct response from people.
Yeah, and thank you for all your sharing is very nice.
Thank you too. Okay, Jen. Okay, I think we can just. Let's see. I'll do some Avatar Mir Baba Ki Jays. I don't know. say good night.
Yeah, if everyone will unmute, and I'll speak for all of us. Everybody has been in rapt attention. I will definitely, Angela always has it up within 24 hours,
Okay,
and I
that's
definitely
great.
want to hear it again. So,
Good. Yeah.
I think
Yes.
all of us are going to tune in, because we'll get to hear the things a second time, and I wouldn't be surprised to hear a third. So, thank you so very much for your intimate and
Mhm.
magnificent poetry and stories and your art. It's just all come together. So whatever ventures you had getting here, boy, did it all come together. Thank you, Baba.
Okay, thank you, Baba. Avatar, Mayor, Baba, Key, J.
Jay.
Okay.
Jay Baba.
Avatar, Baba, Ki
Key,
Jay.
J. Okay. Avatar,
Avatar,
Mayor,
Meher
Baba,
Ki
Baba Ki Jay.
J.
Jay.
Thank you, Marcia. I see your note. Okay. Okay, J Baba. We'll do it again sometime.
Thank
It
you
was
so much.
wonderful. Yeah.
J Baba. Thank you. Mwah. Thank you all for coming. Wonderful sharing, connecting.
Thank you, Max.
Okay. Here we go.
Good night, all.
Good night, everybody.